The January 6th Commission assembled to investigate the breach of the U.S. Capitol building announced a significant measure that could move their investigation forward. Chair of the committee, Representative Benny Thompson, announced that the commission has requested text and phone records from various communications companies and data from social media platforms for hundreds of records from January 6th. The commission's requests seek the records for hundreds of people of interest, including members of Congress who may have somehow been involved in the insurrection. While Representative Thompson has declined to discuss the details of the committee's list of people of interest, he has described the list as exhaustive.
We have quite an exhaustive list of people. I won't tell you who they are, but it's several hundred people that make up the list of individuals we plan to contact. Well, we look at all records at some point.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Representative Jim Jordan both acknowledged that they had spoken to former President Trump during the insurrection. But other Republicans may face congressional subpoenas as well because of the information the committee seeks to obtain. On January 6th, the January 6th Commission could also potentially move to obtain White House call logs from the National Archives to investigate who else may have spoken to President Trump during the insurrection and the nature of those calls. The phone and text records, White House call logs, and social media data could compel testimony from leading members of Congress, former Trump administration officials, and rioters about any ties among them. While neither the commission nor Representative Thompson has suggested a potential time frame for analyzing all of this data, Thompson did announce that a decision would be made in the next week to determine the focus of the commission's next hearing. Retired Lieutenant General Russel Honoré served as the lead of the January 6th task force to review Capitol security. He joins us to discuss the strategy behind the commission's investigation and potential outcomes. General Honoré, thank you for joining me tonight, sir. You have heard just there how the commission is progressing. Do you also want to know what the communications were between members of Congress, the administration, and potentially even some of the people in the insurrection?
You know, as a citizens like you and many who watched this whole 1/6 insurrection unfold, and there was speculations as well as observations from members themselves, watching people talking on the phone during the insurrection. There's been a lot of speculation that there was communications from some people in the Congress with the mob. So that's been a speculation and rumors thereof. The thing about it, Charles, they can get what they call a metadata, not knowing what they were talking about, but who was talking to whom. If there were communications between people in the Capitol and those on the outside, that would be significant information to lead to further questioning. And that would probably then have to go into the FBI and DOJ, is where I would suspect that information would end up. But it would be good lead data for the committee in their authority to question people. Whether they'll answer the questions or not is questionable.
That would be explosive, but what we already know is that some members of Congress were in communication with the president himself, and the president was dragging his feet on calling these people off and making a public statement for them to stop doing what they were doing. What if we find out that there are more people who did the exact same thing that McCarthy and Jim Jordan say that they did, which was to reach out directly to the president? Is it just more damning information that the president knew that there was a problem, that these people in Congress were under physical threat, and he refused to come to their aid? Or is there something more sinister, more possibly even criminal, involved in the decision not to try to intervene?
Well, again, my personal opinion, not that as a role as one who did the led the review of the Capitol security. My personal appearance is I think the executive branch and the president was complicit in the organizing, the motivating, and maybe in some cases in the resourcing of the mob that attacked the Capitol, because their objective was to disrupt the vote that evening in the Capitol. That was plain and clear. The intent of the president was to disrupt that vote and to disrupt the election. He so much have said it several times himself, motivating people to disrupt the vote that was happening in the Capitol. I think you can roll that tape many times as he and others, members of Congress, were motivating people to go disrupt the vote.
You have, we're on the commission to try to, make sure that this never happens again, to harden the Capitol,
Right.
make sure that they had the proper defenses that this would not happen again. What a part of that report that you produced would touch this in any way? Are there any recommendations that you made that would in any way overlap with this idea of looking at who was either encouraging people from the outside, who may have given tours to people the day before through the Capitol that allow people in the building to case the place, or the speed with which you can respond to shut this down that does not require the executive branch to give the okay?
And the latter is what we did, Charles, in that we made a recommendation that the Capitol Police should be able to request the National Guard without having to get approval from the House Sergeant at Arms, the Senate Sergeant at Arms, and the architect of the Capitol. We made that recommendation. So that request would go straight from the Capitol Police based on his threat assessment to shorten that decision window to get the National Guard if needed in the future. We also requested and recommended funding for advanced censoring, as well as improvement to the civil disturbance uniform to deal with a riot type equipment, and additional training for the police, and to add more technology to the Capitol and to harden the windows and the doors of the Capitol. As you were just showing on that earlier tape, they were able to take plastic shields and break the windows. We would have thought that would have been fixed years ago, and we made a recommendation that they get hardened. We also made a recommendation that we have modern fencings that can come out of the ground and break a crowd up that's trying to rush the Capitol. So we did recommend training, and on the intelligence side, we recommended that they added more intelligence specialists to the Capitol Police. And our observation, we said it as clear as possible that the intelligence system didn't work, and I don't know what the FBI was doing. And we saw Director Ray testify a couple times, but they were totally asleep at the wheel. But that wasn't our mission to look at what they were doing, but to look at the intelligence inside the Capitol. The government just didn't work that day. All the government did not work. The Department of Homeland Security was asleep at the wheel. So this shouldn't have happened.
So I want to switch gears a little bit here. You came to most of our attention when you coordinated a response to Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. You are now a very strong and vocal supporter of the Hurricane Laura bill. What is the Hurricane Laura bill, and who would benefit from it?
It would cover the people in Southwest Louisiana, in Cameron, Calcasieu, and South Beauregard Parish. Those parishes that took big hit from Hurricane Laura, Delta, and Zeta. They had 3 hurricanes in a row to come through that community. We've had 2 presidents visit there. When people were still scattered within the first couple of weeks, President Trump made a big promise that the help would be on the way, it would be quick. The hurricane happened, it'd be a year, the 27th of August, which is this week. Following the election and inauguration of President Biden, he made a promise that help would be on the way. We still haven't gotten that $3 billion supplemental that both presidents promised. It's been sitting in the Senate for months, and they can't get that voted out of the Senate. It's a $3 billion bill that would normally be added on to some other bill that's leaving. The last time it was presented about 2 months ago, of all people, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky blocked the bill from being voted on. So it's stuck in the Senate is where it is, and it's been there for months, Charles.
Mm-hmm. Lieutenant General Russel Honoré, thank you so much for your time, sir. It is always a pleasure. Voting rights advocates made another effort to make President Biden pay attention today. I'll speak with one of them next. You're watching Prime on BNC.